from this assignment. It's comparative data, and you're going to go into the first link that's on there, and that's going to take you to a list of Nebraska's 1970 football roster. So you and a friend get in an argument on whether or not people are getting bigger, specifically football players. And so you're going to go into this 1970 roster, and I'm going to highlight from the bottom all the way up to the top. And just get the titles in here. I don't want coaches, captains, stuff like that. That'll mess things up. I'm going to hit Command-C, and that's going to copy. And I'm going to take that information not into tuition analysis. I'm going to take that into Excel. So that's the green X. You're going to make a new file. And in A1, I'm going to hit Command-V, which will paste all that data then. And there's a lot of stuff in here that we don't need, particularly their height. We're just going to look at weight today, and their height, the formatting changed it to be a date. So I'm going to delete that column. And I don't need to know the year, city, state, school, any of that stuff, so I'm going to delete those columns also. All I really need is their position, their weight, and their name, and that's it. I'm going to delete the number even. So the next thing I'm going to do with this is I'm going to sort them by position. So I'm going to highlight all of them. Whoop. And I'm going to go to, you pile of garbage, all of them. I'm going to go to data and go to sort. So there's data here in the ribbon, and there's data up here in the menus. I'm going to go to data sort, and I'm going to sort it by column C, which is weight. Smallest to largest looks good. Actually, let's not do it by weight. Let's do it by position. And then I'm going to add a rule, which is the plus button. And this time I'm going to add it by weight. So what it'll end up doing is it'll sort them by position first, and then it'll sort them by weight. So I have all of the centers here, and then the smallest to the biggest centers. So you can see that there. And then I have one cornerback, a whole bunch of defensive ends, defensive tackles, and fullback. And they're all sorted then by their weight too. So that's step one. That's my first sheet, and I'm going to name my sheet by double-clicking on it and calling it 1970. And I'm going to add another sheet, and we're going to call this one 2023, and you can pick any recent year if you have a favorite year when we were not quite as terrible. And what I'm going to do, I don't see a link to take me to 2023, so I'm going to use my brain a little bit and see that in this menu it says or in the URL it says 1970. So I'm just going to change that portion to say whatever year I choose, in this case 2023. And hopefully they didn't change anything with their system, and that'll take me to the 2023 roster if I'm connected to the Wi-Fi. So as that's going, I'm going to go back to the original page. Come on. In the 1970 tab. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick a few positions that are going to be in both. So here's the tricky thing. Football changed a lot from 1970 to 2023, and so there are positions back then that don't really exist anymore, and more than that, there are a ton of new positions now. You pile. All right, let's try 2022 instead. See if that goes for me. There we go. Oh, now it goes to 23. Do the same thing. It said it can't be found, and then it loaded, and then it went to 2022. Too many people streaming right now. So a lot of the positions change, so I can't do a straight comparison. So if I look for a fullback today, yes, Nebraska has fullbacks right now, but usually they don't really have fullbacks anymore. So I can't compare it straight across. But they do have some positions that are the same. So if I wanted to just compare the quarterback position, I can do that. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sort these by conditional formatting. Format, conditional formatting. And it's going to change them to different colors based on how big they are. So I'm going to add a rule, current selection. I'm going to click the plus to add a rule, and I'm going to make this a 3 scale. And instead of lowest value, I'm going to say a number. Number value, we'll say like 150. If they weigh 150, midpoint, we're going to say number, we'll say 215, and number, and we'll go to 275. So this is going by weight. I want my smallest to be in green, my midpoint to be in yellow, my highest to be in red, and I'm going to click OK. And it's going to give this color spectrum depending on how big they are. See the color spectrum, the ones in red are going to be my biggest, the ones in green are going to be my lowest. So there are a lot of other practical ways that you could use this. This guy doesn't have a weight, Jim Miller. Apparently he was 0 pounds. We're going to delete him. Same thing with Dan Malone and Rex Lowe. They don't have weights, so we're just going to delete them. They're not important for this assignment. All right, 2023 has finally popped up, so I'm going to do the same thing with them. Highlight from the bottom up to the top. I'm going to stop at the titles right here. Command C is copy. I'm going into 2023. Command V to paste. I'm going to delete their column A, and then I'm going to hold down the command key. I'm going to delete their height, their year, city, state, school. Delete. So I'm left again with the names of positions and the weights. Do the same process where I'm going to sort them by position. So I'm going to highlight, go to data up here, not in the ribbon, and sort. And I'm going to sort it first by position. I'm going to add a rule or hit the plus, and then sort by weight. Click OK. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go to Format, Conditional Formatting, add the same rules I had to the other worksheet. And that's a 3 scale. Number, if they weigh around 150. Number, if they weigh 215. Number, if they weighed, I did 275, which is not even. I should have done 300. I'm going to change that on the other one. So that way they're 75 apart. Yellow and green. We'll organize all of them. Go back to 1970 and get these by modify this conditional conditional formatting. Let me modify. I'm going to go to 300 here instead of 275. Now they're the same in both. So I have my 2 comparisons, but I can't really compare them side by side. So the last step of this is I'm going to do one more sheet, and I'm going to call this comparative. And I'm going to find a position. I'm going to find 3 different positions that they had in both years. So here they have a bajillion defensive backs, and I could look for the defensive backs in 1970. If you really know football, you can try to like merge some because they call it a cornerback here. They may not call them defensive backs. I'm going to go with tight end. There's a tight end here. There's 4 of them. So I'm going to command copy and command paste. And in 2023, I'm going to find the tight ends, which would be TE. It's alphabetized. TE. And go to comparative. I'm going to paste it over here. So if I'm just going to glance at this, the biggest tight end we had in 1970 was 232 pounds. He's a big boy. And the smallest tight end in 2023 is only 7 pounds less, so the biggest is 275. That's a beast. Okay, so we have my tight ends in there. I'm going to find 2 more that I can compare. I think it'd be interesting to compare linemen. So here I have some offensive tackles. OT, I'm going to hit Command C, go to comparative, Command V to paste. and see if we have offensive tackles. I should have checked that first. We have OL for offensive linemen. Doesn't look like we specify anymore which position, so we'll just grab all the OLs, all the offensive linemen, and copy and paste it. And not only can I see with the numbers, I can see with the colors now that they had one offensive tackle that was 208 pounds. Now the smallest is 230. Their biggest lineman was 248 pounds. The biggest now is 350 pounds. So you can see that, yes, turns out, looks like they are getting a little bit bigger. We're going to find one more to compare. And I'll go with quarterback, because I know they had quarterbacks then, quarterbacks now. Grab the QB, copy and paste it in. Do same thing with 2023. Go find the QB. Again, it's alphabetized. They have a quarterback in here. They have, there we go. QB, copy, paste. Last step of this, and then we're going to be done, is I want to find the average number also. So down below this, I'm going to put equals, parentheses, equals AVE, and I'll get the average. And then all I have to do is click the top, go to the bottom, close parentheses, and it'll give me the average weight for that position group. Equals AVE, parentheses, select, close parentheses. You pile of garbage. Is it too big? What did I do wrong? Equals AVE, average, select, drag and drop. 216. So average tight end is 244 pounds, where before it was 216. I'm just going to type in average here and average here for easy comparison. Average offensive tackle equals AVE, select average, click and drag, close parentheses, average. I'm just going to copy and paste this word because it can be easier to copy and paste than it is to type. Equals AVE. Almost done. 303 pounds compared to 230 pounds. It's fairly substantial. So when your friend says, yes, they're bigger now than they were before, you can definitively say, turns out you're right. They're definitely getting bigger. Because every position group, quarterback's a 10-pound increase. And if we wanted to, we could find the difference real easily. We could say equals this minus this. Find out they're 28 pounds bigger in one position, equals this minus this. 72 pounds bigger at the line, and about 10 pounds bigger, 9.5 at quarterback. That's about it. That's enough to compare. The old assignment, we had to go through every single position group and group them, and it was nasty and ugly. This is a little bit easier. But there are other things that you can use this for when you're, first of all, just sorting data. We sorted by position. There are times that you have a whole bunch of information, and this allows you to sort by similarities. We did conditional formatting, and that changed the color, so you could just glance at things and pick out the high numbers and low numbers really easily and quickly. And then we compared the data. So those are the main things that we want to know that Excel can do for us. Make sure to check the rubric over. You'll be graded on having a 1970 sheet that is sorted by position and then using conditional formatting for weight. Same for 2023. And then you'll also be graded on having a comparative data sheet that has 3 different positions with conditional formatting and then averages to show the difference. So that is the assignment for today.